Good morning. We are live at Fort Hood, Texas, the scene of this terrible, terrible tragedy. Maggie is off today, and Debbie Turner-Bell is with us in New York. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Harry. It is such a tragedy and so unexpected, especially on an Army base. President Obama talked about that in his statement yesterday. He said it's difficult enough when brave Americans die in battle overseas, but it is horrifying that they should come under fire at an Army base on American soil. This is a sad day. Harry?
Indeed. Fort Hood is the largest military installation in the United States of America. 50,000 soldiers live and train here. They send troops to Afghanistan. They send troops to Iraq. More Iraq casualties came from this one base than any other base in the entire U.S. military system. They are very accustomed to sending soldiers into harm's way. This is the headline this morning. Killeen is the little town right next door to Fort Hood, and this is the headline in the Killeen Daily Herald: Massacre on Post. Don Teague is a former military man, flew helicopters in the reserve, trained here himself. He's with us now from the very latest on post here at Fort Hood. Don, good morning.
Good morning, Harry. For several hours yesterday, military officials told us that the suspected gunman in this case was dead. We now know he is very much alive and hospitalized with gunshot wounds. What we don't know for certain is why he started shooting.
For dozens of unarmed soldiers at a Fort Hood medical processing center, it was an afternoon of horror. At about 1:30 Thursday, military officials say 39-year-old Army Major Nidal Malik Hasan walked into a waiting room and opened fire with two non-military handguns, randomly shooting soldiers in one building, then walking into an adjacent building and shooting again.
The major who did it kept reloading clip after clip pretty much and just was pretty relentless.
In all, 13 people were killed and at least 30 injured, a toll that could have been even higher, but for the actions of a female police officer, among the first to respond to the shooting.
Female officer is alive, just out of surgery and in stable condition. She is believed to be the first responder who shot the suspect.
The suspect was shot at least 4 times by the officer, a civilian employed by the Department of the Army. As police and ambulances rushed to the scene, officials say soldiers, some victims themselves, tore their uniforms to make bandages to treat the wounded.
We put a great investment in soldiers' first aid in taking care of each other. I'm sure this could have been much worse.
In the chaos that followed the shooting rampage, authorities locked down the sprawling Army post for more than 5 hours.
Normally he would call me to pick him up, but when I called back, his phone just busy.
Veronica Flores heard of the shootings and couldn't reach her soldier fiancé. She drove 3 hours, hoping to find him.
I didn't know what was going on. I was very, very scared and nervous, and I just wanted to know if he was all right and everybody else around him.
Military officials have now identified the civilian police officer who was first on the scene. Her name is Kimberly Munley. They say she's a very aggressive police officer, acted heroically in this case and saved many lives. She is seen there on the left. The FBI and Texas Rangers have now been called in to assist military authorities with their investigation. There's also, Harry, a prayer vigil for the victims later this morning in Killeen.
Don Teague, thanks so much for your good reporting.